Hey, shalom, welcome back. So today we're going to be, instead of doing our normal listen and learn judges class, because it is Shavuot, we're going to be working through instead the 10 Commandments, but we'll do it with our normal listen and learn style. You can also watch, if you're a visual learner, that's fine. Either way will work, all right? All right. May Adonai bless you on this wonderful Chag, and may your learning be increased. It's a holiday that's traditional to study the Torah on because traditionally we believe this is when the 10 Commandments, the Aseret-Devarot, were given to us. So what I have here in front of you is the beginning of the 10 Commandments. The big Kaf, this is the number 20 in Hebrew, right? Because we're in chapter 20. Now the text, I took this from surprisingly. As I was going through, I saw one word was wrong. So I don't know what happened, if they were doing like optical character recognition or something. But anyway, so if you notice anything else that's wrong, let me know. I should notice because I have the 10 Commandments memorized. So we'll see. Okay, in Hebrew, we'll see. But still, I can make mistakes too. So let me know if anything looks out of whack. All right, so let's scan the first one. וידבר אלוהים את כל הדברים האלה לאמור. All right, so the verb is daber, dalet bet resh, which is speak, and the it's daber. The yod in the front tells us it's he. So daber, he will speak, or he is speaking. It's an imperfect. But then we have the glowing vav. If you're a visual learner, you'll see I have a glowing vav here. And this is telling us that the aspect is changing. So instead of yedaber, he will speak, vayidaber becomes and he spoke. All right? Who spoke? Elohim, God. And the sages teach us that when we see Elohim being used to represent our God, instead of the word Adonai, like the tetragmaton, Elohim represents justice, mishpat, justice. And of course, he's giving us his 10 major laws here, so it makes sense that we would be introduced, he'd be introduced as Elohim. And you'll note that even though Elohim is a plural, right, presumably from singular Eloah, Elohim is a plural, so that can mean gods. The verb is in the singular. It says vayudaber, not vaydeberu. If it was a plural verb, it would have a u at the end. So this is something interesting in Hebrew, and you can use this if anybody tries to argue that, Hebrew, the word for God is plural. I saw an atheist do this, I think on Reddit before, and I responded and showed him how he was a little too clever by half with his argument. He knew a little bit of Hebrew to be dangerous, but not enough to really understand what the heck he was talking about. So sometimes the atheists, they will argue that the Bible developed monotheism, that Judaism started as a belief in polytheism, and then over time, one God over those other gods, right? And they'll try to use the fact that Elohim is a plural to make that argument, but they don't realize that whenever we're talking about false gods, sure, the verb will be plural also, right? But when you're talking about the one true God, the God of Israel, the verb will be singular. Hence, Vaydaber Elohim. Then, so if we want to be hyper literal, then gods, he spoke. You see, that's hyper literally what's happening. Then he spoke. Who spoke? Gods, plural. Okay, so not a plural. It's something about the nature of our God. Many many commentators like to refer to it as like the plural of majesty and such. Whatever it is, he uses a singular verb for himself because our God is echad, one. Okay, continue. 8. So, Vaydaber Elohim 8. Then God spoke. 8, we don't translate. Kol had devarim ha-ele. So, kol, kaf lam, it is all of had, that's the, devarim from the word davar. So you could say words, but it can mean commandments too. So even the verb that davar is related to, daber, well, diber usually it would be, it can mean speak, but the classical Jewish commentators, they point out that amal, to say, is used in some contexts. But when there's a more stringent thing being discussed or something more serious, diber will be used, right? And we even call the Ten Commandments Yaser Debarot, right? So it sounds like really it's true that davar can mean a command as it relates to diber. It can mean a command depending on context. So they could be words, things, matters, commands. But we'll be hyper literal just for now, for the sake of your memory, okay? Kol hadevarim, all of the words, the ele. Ele is what we call a demonstrative adjective. It means these. It's a plural. Ha-devarim ha-ele. The words, these ones. Since adjectives must agree with the noun in person, so that means plural here. It's plural, im, and ele is plural. You just have to know that. Definiteness, ha and ha. And in gender, they're both masculine. Well, actually, ele is common. It works for feminine plural and masculine plural. It's a common adjective. Lemon, infinitive. Literally to say, though we usually translate saying. Okay? And since we got quite a bit to go through, that's fine. We'll go in detail. So you try to translate before I do now. Vayidaber Elohim. Then spoke God. 8. Don't translate. Kol. All of had devarim. The devarim. The davars. The words. Ha. The ele. The these ones. Ha devarim ha ele. All of the words, these ones. Lemo. Saying. Okay. Verse 2. Anochi Adonai Elohecha, asher hotzeticha me'eretz Mitzrayim, mibeit ve'avadim. You see here, the text I had, it didn't have the sof pasuk drawn in there, kind of strange, so I had to add that. All right. Anochi, I, that's the same word as ani. Okay. I am Yod-He, Waw-He. That's the sacred name of God. We render it Adonai. I am Adonai. Elohecha. That's the Elohim of Cha, of you, your God, or your Elohim. Asher, who, hotzeticha. So the verb here, it's a little bit hard to see. It's actually yatsa. Yatsa. The yod is missing. Yod tzadi aleph is to go out. This is a he-fill form of it. So he-fill is the causative verbal form. So to cause to yatsa, to cause to go out. What's a better way to say that in English? To bring out, right? To cause to come out is to bring out. So hotzeti means I cause to yatsa. Ti, I. Hotzeti, I caused to come out. So I brought out cha, you. Hotzeti cha, brought out I you. Hotzeti cha, brought out I you. Me eretz Mitzrayim. Me. Me here, it's mem tsere. That's the two horizontal dots, if you're just listening. So this is from the word min. Min, which means from. And min, when you attach it to a word, oftentimes the noun will assimilate. It will disappear. So we'll say mem, and we have just a dot underneath the chirik, and the next word, the noun goes inside. It goes inside there. And so there'll be a strong dot in the next word. The problem is, Aleph cannot take a dagesh. You can't take that dot. So the dot got bumped out, and he came down underneath the mem, and now we have two dots under the mem. So min became may. So when you hear may as part of the word, like a prefix kind of, that means from. Okay? So may, because it's in construct, may, Eretz Mitzrayim, that's going to be the land of Egypt. Why? Because the last word is definite. We have a construct chain. And when that last word is definite, it's definite because it's a name. It's not any old land, it's Mitzrayim. It's Egypt. So when that last word is definite, it will impart that definiteness to all the other words in the construct chain, which in English we render as the. Someone asked me about this over on Patreon recently, like, why are you, in the Isaiah study, why are you translating the where there's no the in the Hebrew? So that was a good question. Oops, sorry, what happened? That was a good question, and this is the answer. I did answer you over there, but in case you didn't see it, here we go. The construct chain, it is a the, it's a virtual the, right? It's just the way to bring it into English. It's the concept of definiteness being expressed in Hebrew that we have to bring into English. You might not have to in your language, right? Some languages, they handle definiteness differently. So, may, the Eretz of Mitzrayim, of Egypt. So, may Eretz Mitzrayim, from the land of Egypt. So, Hotzeiticha, brought out you, may, from Eretz Mitzrayim, the land of Egypt. Mib is here on this one. It's easier to track what's happening because the noon is hiding inside of the bait, because bait can take a dagesh. So that's our noon from min. We have min, and the noon went up into the bait, and that's why there's the dot there. So min bait became mib bait. There's two baits there, but we only draw one. Mib bait, even though we won't often pronounce that like there's two, but you'll still hear the b instead of a v. Now we have another construct chain. It's beit avadim, which is house of slavery. Oftentimes when you have a word like Ya'vid, ayin, beit, dalit, which means servant or slave, and we put that word into a plural, many times in the Bible, that is a way to express the abstract concept related to it, right? So, for example, Zakain is like an old person, right? But Zakanim, it can mean old people or it can mean old age. You see? So Avid, and we were just talking about this with Raphael, over in Hebrew literacy. So this might be a nice review for everyone who was interested in that cool conversation we had. Sometimes the feminine is used to express it too, though that's more in rabbinical Hebrew more often. So, Avad, slave, Avadim could mean slaves or the abstract idea of slavery. Slavery. So, Beit Avadim means house of slavery. Some will translate bondage, but I want to keep it more literal. Slavery is really what it's talking about here. So mib beit or mib or mi beit avadim, from house of slavery. Okay, let's go over that again. This time you try to translate before I do. Exodus 20, verse 2. Anochi Adonai Elohecha. Anochi, I am Yod-He, Waw-He, I am Adonai Elohecha. That's the Elohim of Cha, your Elohim. Asher, who? Hotzeiticha, I brought out you. Meita Eretz Mitzrayim, from the land of Egypt. Meita Beit Avadim, from house of slavery. And we really kind of got to say the house of slavery in English to make it sound right. So, all right. Now I'll just read it one more time. without the sounds, all right? אנכי Adonai אלהיך, אשר הוצאתיך מארץ מצרים, מבית העבדים. How'd you do? Do all right? All right, to make these lessons chunk-size studyable ones, I'm going to end this one here, but we'll have another one coming up right away. Okay, so if you're in the premiere, you know what's happening. Shalom, shalom.